Hallways are not spaces where we choose to spend our time. They are not destinations, but in between places where we wait, hope, wrestle, and wonder what will come next. I spent many weeks in one such hallway when my mother was hospitalized. I walked the same stretch over and over to the elevator, to the waiting room, to the waiting room, to her door, from her door to the back into the hallway, but where I prayed, paced, and sometimes broke down. And in that hospital, after much waiting and pleading, my mother passed away. That hallway became a place of deep longing and painful surrender. Yet, it also became a space where God met me with strength I didn't know I had, with quiet assurance that I was not alone, and with unexpected moments of compassion and beauty in the middle of grief. What I first considered a wasted space became, in many ways, holy ground. When we turn to the Gospel of Mark, we see something similar taking place. Mark does not open his account of Jesus with joy or comfort, but with a voice of crying out in the wilderness, a spiritual hallway between Israel's long season of waiting and the fulfillment about to the coming of Christ. John the Baptist stands in the transitional space with a message of urgency: prepare the way for the Lord. Rather than telling people to wait politely, John calls them to examine their hearts, confess their sin, and clear away anything that might prevent them from recognizing God's arrival. Preparation in Mark's gospel is not a matter of decoration, but transformation. God begins the story of redemption in the hallway, in the wilderness, where everything feels unfinished, exposed, and open to change. Behind Mark's proclamation is the soft echo of Isaiah's ancient promise: in the wilderness, prepare the way of the Lord. Make straight in the desert a highway for our God. Isaiah reminds us that the wilderness is not a void, but a construction site for God's future. Valleys are lifted, mountains are lower, and rough places are smooth, not by our strength alone, but by God's grace, reshaping what we cannot. It is often in the uncomfortable, unexpected landscapes of our lives, the hallways that we never wanted to stand in, that God begins his most important work. My mother lived this truth powerfully during her final days. Before she lost consciousness, she spent her time bringing comfort and light to those around her. She spoke with nurses about faith, encouraged anxious families, and prayed with patience, carrying heavy burdens of their own. She brought peace in rooms filled with fear. In her weakness, she revealed a strength that came from God alone. She became, in many ways, a voice in the hallway, preparing hearts, including mine, for an encounter with God's presence. She did not waste her hallway, she transformed it. And when she died, the hallway did not collapse into defeat, but instead became a witness to the resilience of faith, the tenderness of compassion, and the hope that does not end at death. Advent invites us into the same kind of preparation. It is not simple a countdown to Christmas, but a season to make room for the one who is coming. Preparation calls us to name what clutters our inner hallway: fear, resentment, pride, old wounds, distractions, spiritual numbness. These become mountains and obstacles that blocks Christ's way into our hearts. John the Baptist invites us to clear the path, to let God lift the low places, lower the high places, and smooth the rough edges of our soul. Advent becomes holy not when everything is perfect, but when we allow God to begin his quiet, steady work of transformation. And preparation is not easy. It often happens when life feels heaviest, when we are grieving, overwhelmed, or unsure of what comes next. But those are the very places where God prepares us most deeply. We prepare by inviting God into the unfinished spaces inside of us, naming the fears we would rather ignore, and by letting the Spirit illuminate what needs healing. Preparation is not perfection, it is openness. It is allowing God to shape us while we're still standing in the hallway. My friends, the greatest truth that I learned in that hospital hallway is that God is not only present at the end of the journey, God is with us in the middle of it. In uncertainty, longing, waiting, and even heartbreak, God is quietly preparing us for what is ahead. God strengthens, comforts, reshapes, and gently clears a path towards hope. Advent reminds us that Christ is always on the way, always drawing near, always ready to enter the spaces we open for Him. So, as we walk the hallways of our own lives this season, may we not rush through them or treat them as meaningless, but recognize them as sacred ground, places where God is preparing our hearts to receive Christ more deeply. Amen.
I'm Sean Stanfield. I'm one of the pastors here at the Vine United Methodist Church, and we're just excited that you're with us today. We are a digital church with physical expressions. A physical expression means that we also do what we call branch groups. These are physical groups out in the community where you exist. We want to make sure that you are connected in spaces, and you can either be in home groups, you can be in third spaces like coffee shops or restaurants and those kind of things, because we're not designed to do life alone. So I want to encourage you, say, hey, where do I find a branch group in my area? We would help you with that. Or maybe you're the one that says, I want to start a branch group in my area, and I have people who want to come alongside me. Reach out to us, and we will help get you through the training and help guide you and what that would be like. Come and join a branch today.